and 09087668888. You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 09097054450. Mr. Alabi, good morning again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, we talk about education today, and it seems like every year when this day comes around, we talk about the education. We talk about the quality of education in the country, and then we just leave it there. When there's an ASU strike or something, we talk about education, and then we leave it there. Things seem not to be changing. I recall that from the 80s or 90s. We've seen ASU strikes here and there every now and then. Every administration gets a dose of it, but things haven't really changed. In fact, it seems like things are becoming worse with the quality of education that we get. People are talking about half-baked graduates from Nigerian universities. Nigerian universities produce graduates that would have to go back to school, sometimes even get a master's degree abroad. They have to probably go back and do an undergraduate degree again abroad before they're deemed qualified, to get even master's degree sometimes in these countries. What do you make of this situation with the educational sector in the country, having reported, education for many years in this country?
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you, audience, for hooking up. I'm going to disappoint you a bit. We like running things down in this country, and we always forget our history. We don't believe that we have had a kind of a checkered history where things were proper, where things were right, and certain things actually pushed us off the track where things started degenerating, especially with the incursion of the military. I want to tell you sincerely that no matter how terrible it could be, Nigeria's education is still not as bad as being painted. And I'm going to explain to you. There is hardly anyone who goes out of Nigeria to study abroad, either at master's level or at the graduate level, that will fail to excel. If it is that bad, how are our people excelling out there? I have friends, I have cousins, I have nephews who are just, as you know. But the problem that we have is because we have forgotten that it is not always right to treat issues in isolation. There is a global crisis, and I am not a fan of this current administration. I am not. I won't be. But I've seen certain things as a stakeholder in the education sector that has given me a kind of a sign that where you think the problems are coming from is actually not where the problem is coming from. The problem is actually not about the standard. The standard being affected by the situation is actually not from the government itself. Go and check. Go and check. Today, apart from probably language barrier in some non-English speaking countries or whatever that they have to learn languages, there is hardly anything you take Nigerians through that they will not excel. What has changed? How do you don't, people talk about ranking and they talk about rating, they talk about this. There are so many factors that affect ranking and rating globally. You talk about your web presence. You talk about how many lecturers, how many foreigners you can attract in terms of students, in terms of lecturers. All those things will not happen as long as insecurity is part of the challenges that we face. Nobody is going to be interested in coming to this country. I was in Europe last June, and I knew what I saw. We have global crisis at hand now. It is not limited to Nigeria. People will japa from Nigeria, not because things are just too bad with our education sector. It is because the system, and when you are going to look at things that actually compounded our situation. One, the oil prices fell so flat. Two, you had a situation where COVID rendered everything useless for about 2 years. And when you go to the UK that everybody is rushing to, people will not tell you that in UK currently the nurses are on strike. People will not tell you that within the last 2-3 years, we have had how many prime ministers in UK as a result of the crisis, the socio-economic crisis that we have in the UK. We have our own peculiar problems, no doubt about that. Corruption is part of our challenges. But is the only government that is involved in corruption? Go and check our universities in Nigeria. The unions that keep shouting all over the places. Go, if